part of my creative process is to allow my wise sage and my inner mother to find the meaning first, to understand what I'm trying to do, to really jump in and feel through all of the information. And then part of my creative process is to like take that, wear it, and then go play. Forget about it.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. I'm here to share with you the beautiful transmissions from the walls of my cavernous heart and to witness the great frequency shift that we are moving into as a collective and the beautiful deep work that we are doing as we glide into the age of Aquarius. This is the Liminal Frequencies podcast. Let's go. You know, imagination is the only weapon in the war against reality. This is a quote from a French philosopher, Jules de Gaultier. And it feels as if it is such a powerful time to be alive and to have this experience. We're finding new ways and new rabbit holes to enter in order to discover more of ourselves and uncover that to reveal that. Last week, we talked with Jocelyn Bates in a really riveting conversation, and we finished off talking about the control that we do have over our own energy fields and our reality, and how people are getting more and more interested in human design and astrology and energy work and clearing and the Akashic records, and how we can step into a place of maintaining our own energy field and our own space. And today we get to go a little bit deeper into that. We're going to talk a little bit more about human design itself. And so I wanted just to give you a little background. If you have a human design profile and you can pull that profile up, then there might be some information here for you. But it's pretty easy to find on the web just with your birth date and time of birth and location. There are several energy centers in the body. It's almost like a human chakra map that is connected to all of the astrological signs. And you can see where you have defined centers, which are your strengths, which are when there's a solid color around the shape, or where you have undefined centers. And that is where you are actually able to read people. You're able to take on other people's energy. You're able to amplify. The definition in human design creates these circuits between the different systems, and it allows you to run your energy. But without those centers, it's not necessarily a negative. You have some strengths to that. But when something is undefined, it can affect how you connect with other people and your conditioning, and how you may stay in relationships or contexts of situations where you are having that center filled for you. So very interesting thing to get into. I'm so excited for this conversation. Fresh to finish with that. And I want to read to you a little bit more from the Sacred Earth Oracle by Tony Salerno and Lila Williams. Space. Space exists within and without an object. It is a container and a boundary. Without space, there would be no separation. The entire universe would be one solid mass. There would be no growth, no change, no evolution. Planting seeds in their own space ensures that they have access to the nutrients, light, and water they need to thrive. Space gives us room to know who we are, within, but separate to the world around us. Yes, we are all from the same infinite source and a part of a complete and magical universe. But we are also complete and magical beings of our own. Space empowers us with boundaries, individuality, and freedom. Respecting these gifts honors all of creation. It reminds me of a Terence McKenna quote: your ego is what helps you decide which mouth to feed. I'm going to put food in my body and not your body because this is me. And we are always playing with this separation of unity and the polarity, the separation between you and me. And I think it's a beautiful place to go into that, looking to nurture yourself, looking to find more of yourself, more parts of yourself, and more of the investigative scavenger hunt that we're all on called life. So grab a notebook, pop some popcorn, get a snorkel, and let's dive in.
It's incredible, and it brings up for me what I've experienced, especially becoming more obvious in the last 4 years, is that we have obviously a mainstream media and the ideas and the truth. We all create our own reality. This is quantum manifestation. It's normal to create your own reality. So I don't want to fault anybody for having a different reality than mine. That's just natural. But in life, there are directions that we can go and rabbit holes that we can go on. There's also the alternative mainstream media. And there's also just literally putting your ear to the ground and listening to the earth and feeling and listening to your messages and what you receive. And the question that I like to ask myself, because I have gone through a little bit of depression just listening to the alternative mainstream media and finding all this information, and sometimes too much information. Sometimes we just literally have access to too much information than is healthy, than our ancestors ever would have access to. And I just like to ask myself, if I learn something about the world or about myself, does this make me feel empowered? Does this make me feel like I'm ready to step into the next day with as my best self? Or does it bring me into fear? And if it brings me into fear, I choose not to assimilate that into my reality. It's just as simple as that.
And what's interesting, I forget what your profile was, but what's interesting is, so I'm a 4-1 in human design, right? So a major part
And
of my
can you just
design.
explain that really quick? A 4-1.
Oh, well, a 4-1 is so in everyone's design, your profile is created from your sun and earth and the lines in your sun and earth, both conscious and unconscious, right? So I'm line 4 and line 1, which is a 4-1, which is an opportunity an investigator. All of the profiles are with the lines 1 through 6.
Yeah.
So there's 3-5, 6-3, 1-4.
Wow.
And there's 12 profile types. And 4-1 is, so the one is, I say this because you were saying, like, I don't know if it's great for me to have all that information. For me, and my line 1 is all about research. And it's all about needing to know. And when I know enough, and I know enough, then I can let it go and I can go do what I need to do. But if I stop researching before I know enough, it'll drive me crazy. And what it did before I knew that in my profile, right? Before I understood that, I would get down on myself. Why can't I just move? Why can't I just got to be a perfectionist. Why am I such a perfectionist? Why do I have to do, right? Like, why can't I just do it? Everyone else is, I have a friend who doesn't know, like, she doesn't know very much about what she's moving into in a career. And she just put herself out there. And in my brain, I'm like, how come I can't do that? I just want to, and I look at my profile and I have that 1. I need to know. It helps me understand, helps me place the grid around myself to see where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
And even in my artistic process, I just went through an awesome soul art. And it was all about my inner family. It was all about my nourishment of my inner family and my soul. And I came out of it understanding my creative process. Part of my creative process is to allow my wise sage and my inner mother to find the meaning first, to understand what I'm trying to do, to really jump in and feel through all of the information. And then part of my creative process is to, like, take that, wear it, and then go play. Forget about it. And then with my inner child. And then my inner father comes in and directs the piece of art I'm creating. It's like a whole process. I just totally put words to the other day.
It's a whole family.
That line 1, I have that. So for me, I go in and I learn things about the matrix or wherever we are, right? Whatever we're looking at or whatever world we're in, and I learn. I don't actually take it into me. It's not part of my profile. I learn about it and then I feel like I have to share it with people in my network, right?
Yeah.
And then I let it go and I'm like, okay, how do I take care of myself, right?
Yeah.
But you might not have that one.
I have a 1-3 investigating
Oh, you're a 1-3.
martyr. Yeah.
it's good for you to research.
Yeah.
You have that same one line, except with you, whereas I will bring that research to my network and my community and like my relationships. You're meant to go play and trial and error with that. So as you research, right, as you go in and research your pupils, it makes sense that you would say, okay, is this helping me or is it hurting? Like, what can I do with it to
Yeah.
take it to the next level, right? Maybe
Yeah.
I could take that idea that we're in a matrix and do an awesome, maybe create some kind of, for me, it would be art, but for you,
Yeah.
something else, right? And actually trial and experiment and fail and learn and get it
Yeah.
right and learn and right. And that's kind of your whole life is about that. When you're
Yeah.
not, when a profile 1-3 is not trial and erroring life, they're generally not on target, right?
Okay.
Like when you're not having the adventure of trying and seeing and learning and trying and seeing and learning and trying, that's like really important for you.
And it's
Yeah.
interesting, I have heard people talk about how their data is out there and they feel uncomfortable and they feel vulnerable and they feel paranoid about it. And I went and made a sound journey. It's called Privacy Protection, Invoking Our Inner Software. And this whole concept that this mandala, and we're at the center of the mandala, and we can create this beautiful sacred geometry around our structure, and we can also create geometry around the structure of the things that are an extension of us, like our data, like an extension of our aura, is the stuff that we put out there. And just say, like, I'm intending, because I do believe that we create our own reality, right? I'm intending that this is going to go to the right people, and the right people are going to be magnetized towards what I want to share with the world, and the people that aren't going to resonate and that are kind of going to be in the shadows, that's going to fall away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I worked with somebody and she said that she likes to clear caches, skirting the technology, right? And
Yeah.
we can all do this with, for example, with like Zoom. I really like to make sure it's protected when I work with it because I haven't heard things about it. I don't feel as comfortable with it. And so just grading that and setting the intention that anything that is in that greater field is not going to have power.
Yeah. Well, listen, I just wrote a Substack not too long about intention. And the whole point of it was we can do anything. We can do the simplest thing, right? And if we have intention behind it, we will learn so much more. We will create so much more because intention and just the idea, like say you just want to go for a walk, right? You might have the intention of getting exercise. You might have the intention of figuring out why you feel so crappy today. Or you might have the intention of just finding a little beauty. Or you might have, whatever your intention is. If you have that intention and then you go for a walk, it's going to be that much more meaningful. So if you're going to do something and you're going to put the energy out and you're working with the quantum field and the energetics of everything, you need the intention. And it's setting a beautiful space for the work that you're doing,
Yeah, I love it. I think intention is, and if anybody listening has participated in ceremonies, either plant medicine ceremonies or other ceremonies, the intention is so powerful. It's almost like you're just ordering, this is what I'm going to work with, and I'm ready to work with it. And whether or not you receive exactly what you want to, you're going to, within a certain time period, feel or realize or unravel something.
Yeah. We get what we need when we need it, right? And when you put that intention out there, I think I've never lived as intentionally as after my parents died. I had to start creating intentions. My life kind of forced me to because I needed to parent. I needed to get back into things. I had to do things with intention to get moving. Otherwise I knew I was going down. Like I knew I was, what's really crazy is, see, my parents died in September of 2021. In August of 2021, just 3 weeks earlier, I was actually working on a book on grief because I've had a lot of grief in my life. I had a stillbirth, I lost lots of friends, and I was writing on grief and doing an art book as well as writing on grief. And I had called my friend and I was like, this is really hard. Like I'm drudging up so much death in my life. And I'm like, if my parents ever died, I'd never make it. Wow. 3 weeks later, go figure, both my parents die 7 days apart, totally unexpected and totally traumatic. Absolutely. I was in 100% shock. The level of care was horrendous and like the inability to do anything, right? You want to talk about conspiracy theories of what happened during COVID. I saw it firsthand.
With your parents getting sick.
They got sick. Their death certificate states they died of COVID, but their medical records say something different. because the hospital
Okay.
got money for
Wow.
everything they did.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So
That just, it stings even more.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. There was, I was in utter shock, utter shock. It all came crashing down because every one of my conspiracy theories that everyone was telling me wasn't true, it was like right in my face. And I was walking past seeing all the healthcare hero things and I was triggered every time. And it was like, it was really, it was a
Wow.
nutty time. And I needed to like really create intention in my life to move through it because I knew how deep I was scarred. And so I did lots of things intentionally. I started doing Wim Hof cold showers. I did TM meditation. That's how I started to like. It all happened after 4 or 5 months. But I immediately got a mantra for TM meditation. I did like the human design, the resiliency keys. I did Akashic records, and then yoga nidra was something that absolutely saved me when my anxiety came back up at full tilt about a year
Wow.
later.
Wow. I'm curious how you, and maybe this is a big question. I'm curious how you incorporate Akashic records with gene keys and everything. I assume maybe just being in the records gives you a little bit more details and insights onto a past life or something like that.
I've worked with them in a bunch of different ways, actually. I don't always work with the Akasha. I do it intuitively with human design readings. I need to get their permission to go into the Akashic records. So I can't just go into anyone's records. I have to have literal statement out loud in front of me. Like
Right. Yeah.
I won't even accept an email because I'm like, what if they change their mind? I don't
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person.
When your records are open, right, you probably know this, then you can access more information just about your life and how you're helping people and how you're supporting people. But in order
Yeah,
to actually go into that level with that person, then you need permission, but you
right.
can go into the records and say, I want to go into the records of the session that I'm doing for this person and what's going to unfold or what I need to focus
Yes.
on.
Yes, you can go to, I can, and a lot of times if I go into my records, I'll go, and I know a session is coming up, I'm going in just to keep it calm and open. I'm going in just to set a tone, just to like make sure that it's just that there's an openness to what's being said, right? Or what's coming up.
Right.
Yeah, I worked with someone recently on human design chart and we were like, we were wondering how certain things showed up. So I said, hey, would you be okay if I went into your Akashic records? And she said, sure. We went into your Akashic records and we found pieces of her design in past lives and how they played out in different lives. And there were some tethers that we untethered. There were some contracts we rewrote one contract, and then we transmuted some other contracts. And we went really deep into the belief systems of some of her undefined centers. And whenever you're undefined in human design in a center, you don't have access to that energy. So you often are conditioned. So if you've past lives that were really strong in those centers, and in this life you're undefined, you can pull in all of that conditioning. And it might not even be from this lifetime. It might not even be people that are like right in front of you. It's interesting to do that. And also when people don't have their time of birth, because like in Britain and England, they don't have time of birth on their birth certificates a lot.
Wow.
So you can go into the Akashic records and kind of work a little bit around that. So
Cool. I love
yeah.
it. So, this has been really fun. I just have another question about how people listening can tap into the liminal frequencies and unconscious.
No, I mean, there's so many ways. Whenever you're going to go in and really jump into your subconscious, your unconscious, into your energetic fields, right? Into maybe even, everyone has access to their own Akashic records. You can even go into your own Akashic records. Everyone has access to their own at any time they want. They just have to be guided there, right? They just have to ask their guides to take them there.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but I always say start with something that grounds you. Like for me, it's yoga nidra. If I know I'm going to walk into something that's my subconscious, I want to know that I have a safe place. So my first thing is I go to yoga nidra. I'll do a yoga nidra meditation. I might even do something along the lines of like inner sanctuary yoga nidra, just to like tap in and connect with my inner sanctuary.
Yeah.
But part of that is about the subtle selves and getting present in your body. So if you want to get into that space, it's like, okay, get really present with your body. It's just like the creative process. Get really present. Feel the temperature, feel the texture, feel the breath, feel everything. Start to expand out your feeling to the energy around you, and start to ask your own questions, yes or no's. Get a sense for your clairabilities. Start knowing what your yes is and what your no is. And you do that just by when you're in that place of being very present, just asking a question that you know the answer is yes to. It's my name Jocelyn. Okay, easy enough. I know I have a yes, right? Is my name Kevin? No, my name's not Kevin. So, like, I can feel the difference in the shift in my body and play
Yeah.
with that with simple questions. And then you can ask your guides to take you into your Akashic records, or you can allow your mind to wander. Even to a place of a memory, wander
Yeah.
into a memory and start to ask questions.
I
And
love
just
it.
start to follow the what your body's giving you. It might be clairvoyance. You might see something. You might feel something. You might hear something. There's all kinds of different ways to feel into your clair abilities, but they're all yours. Everyone has them. We all have them.
I love
It's just
it.
that we sometimes shut down.
Yes. Yeah, removing the blockages to receiving what you need to. I
Yeah.
love it. Is there anything you want to share about offerings that you have or how people can connect with you?
Yeah. My website is jocelynbates.net, and that's where I offer soul sessions and soul art journeys and human design readings. And I do a basic human design reading as a first reading because I feel like we were talking about it earlier. I feel like you need to experiment with each piece before you get really, really deep. So it's really, and some of the initial stuff you learn is so important and so life altering. Like,
Yes.
you need to experiment with that. So that's at jocelynbates.net. And then I also have a Substack at Jocelyn Bates. Talk about my journeys through everything. So I have a bunch of stuff on the Akashic Records up there, on my soul art journeys, on intention. That's where I put that article on intention. And then I also have an insight timer. So I'm actually going to be putting up a bunch of stuff on clair abilities on Insight Timer. I just haven't gotten around to recording it yet. But right now there's a bunch of Yoga Nidra, Inner Sanctuary, creative process stuff on Insight Timer as well. And
Amazing.
yeah, oh, and if you go on my website, you can sign up for, I have a 11 cheat sheet, 11 ways to balance your nervous system in case you want to get into that present state. It's kind of meant for anxiety, but it accomplishes the same thing. It gets you present in your body through
Yeah.
breath, through mindfulness, etc.
Yeah. I love it. I love how well rounded you are.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I hope that you have a beautiful day.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for getting curious with us today. There is a amazing amount of rabbit holes that we could go on in this life, and you chose to go on this rabbit hole with us. So I want to read you from the book of Tokapa Turner, Belonging. There is a world beneath the visible surface of things. It is the birthplace of dreams, the workshop of imagination, the source from which all creation arises, and into which the ancestors have returned. At any given moment, we are either turning away from or coming into congruence with our kinship with mystery. Only when we wrestle to keep the endangered language of beauty and sensitivity alive do we have a chance at becoming necessary to the urgency of our times. It feels so important right now that we tap into our inner knowing and our inner well, that we have this wealth of abilities and we can harvest the gifts of our intuition and our inner knowing to clean up our energy, to re-experience our reality, to renegotiate our contracts. And I love navigating this world, so I would love to support you in navigating through your Akashic records, through looking through astrology to help you align with your highest path and help you step into your gifts. It's been such a pleasure doing this show with you, and I would love it if you would share it with a friend, leave a 5-star review, or let me know about somebody that wants to do a very deep dive with me. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time.